All right, folks, we continue in the fourth essay. Today we will only begin, and it'll be short. It's a short class, but the performance of mitzvahs and the uniqueness thereof. So, if a performance of a mitzvah cannot be delegated to someone else to do, then you have to forego even the study of Torah, even if it's you're studying, it's called Maisa Merkava, the celestial chariots. In other words, you're studying a very profound and deep concept. But I think it's a practical mitzvah that needs to be fulfilled. You have to forego that. And it, beyond question that one forgoes the intellectually generated awe and love of God, right? Not that comes through prayer. So, and what's the reason? Well, the whole reason a physical world was created is in order that we should interact with the physical world and refine the sparks that are there. So the physical acts of mitzvah, we engage with the physical and materiality of the world in order to bring that refinement of the sparks that are trapped in the klipa, in the negative forces of this world. That's one reason. And additionally, in the practical act of mitzvahs and the study of the mitzvah, far transcend even an intellectually motivated or inspired love and awe of God. Well, again, in the fact that the whole reason a physical world is created is for the physicality of this world that we need to engage in order to extract the sparks that are in the physical world. But further, it's even the bond that our soul has to God through the physical act of a mitzvah. Not just because that's the ultimate purpose of the creation of a physical world, right? Again, refining the sparks that are found within the material world. But even the bond of the soul to God is much greater than the love and awe that the soul will have of its own. And he explains. So, there is a mitzvah to cleave to God, right? To cleave to him, meaning to his attributes. So when one acts kindly because you're cleaving to the divine attribute of God's kindness, so that's an amazing thing, right? So you're bound up with God. However, what are you cleaving to? In other words, we're not talking here about doing a mitzvah. We're talking about a sense of cleaving through an act of kindness, right? Kindness is not a specific mitzvah, right? It's you trying to be like God. A specific mitzvah is like giving charity, right? Tzedakah is a mitzvah. It's an act of kindness, it's an act of compassion, but it's much more than that. It is a mitzvah. Now, we're going to not get so much into the mitzvah today because it's really in the forthcoming classes. But what we're going to show now is that in the act of being kind, not in the act of the mitzvah, right? And again, a mitzvah, you could be kind, right? Being charitable, visiting the sick, a mitzvah, right? And physical-oriented mitzvahs, putting on tefillin and lighting Shabbos candles and so on and so forth. But now we're just speaking about being kind because God's kind. So you're being like God, right? Sounds pretty lofty. But the Alter Rebbe explains that you're not cleaving to the essence of the supernal attributes that you are now emulating or mimicking, so to speak, right? But only to the externality of their existence. And with this we can understand, and it was something we learned in chapter 15, if you recall, or epistle 15, the 15th letter. We spoke about Abraham, that Abraham is the embodiment of kindness down here, reflecting the kindness of the divine. But yet he said, that I am dust and ashes, meaning my kindness relative to God is like dust and ashes, meaning, right, meaning obviously a sense of humility that his kindness is nothing compared to God. But the Alter Rebbe takes it further and says, when we speak about nothing, well, dust of ashes, if you take a beautiful fruit-bearing tree and it gets burnt, it becomes dust and ashes. Relative to what it was originally, it's like, it's incomparable. Even though essentially there is a connection there, obviously the ashes do come from the tree. But it's totally incomparable. So, likewise, is Abraham, Avram Avinu's embodiment of the divine kindness is totally incomparable to God's. So, so that's God's attributes, that when you're trying to act like God and being kind, right? We're not talking about doing a mitzvah now. We're talking about just being like God, cleaving to Him, to being like God. That the attribute that you're cleaving to, you're not cleaving to the essence of it, but to the fact of it, to the externality of it, but not to the core essence of it. Otherwise, you'd be, it would be, you're not cleaving to the essence of God, in other words. That's really what it means. Again, not by means of doing an act of mitzvah. Right? Now, the Alter Rebbe continues, all the more so when with regard to the Ein Sof of God. Well, that, no mind, no thought can apprehend Him. Even a radiance of the Ein Sof, right? We only grasp the existence of the limitlessness of God, that He gives us life, but we don't get the essence of it. Even, lofty angels above that say, Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. Well, why are they saying holy? Because God is removed. If the relationship to the essence of God was sort of cause and effect, a linked chain reaction, then that would mean that that which is lower is linked to that which is higher. It senses where it's coming from and what it's connected to, and it's completely nullified to it, right? There's complete connection here. That's cause and effect. But, we don't come as a result of cause and effect from the essence of God. And therefore, our apprehension of God is He's wholly removed, beyond, right? Separate from. So we don't sense God vested within me, that He becomes my reality, but beyond me, right? To the essence of God. Again, He's not vested in, because this is an investiture. Like what LinkedIn means, that there's an investiture over here, right? Between the two. And therefore, you sense your source. But the angels don't sense their source. It's beyond them. I mean, they sense that there is a source, the fact of the source, but not the essential core connection to the source. It transcends them totally. Likewise, souls, right? Even souls that of the lofty righteous in Atzilus, because they are unable to apprehend the essence of godliness, because they're created beings, even though they're lofty souls. But this now we can understand what Moses said, Moshe Rabbeinu said, God said to him, rather, you will see my hinder part. In other words, you're not going to see the essence of me. You're going to see the externality of me. You're going to know the fact of me, but you're not going to know the essence of me. A child comes from the parent, from the essence. There's an essential connection. But here, right, we're not talking about doing a mitzvah now, remember. We're talking about an apprehension in my mind of the essence of God. All I will be able to apprehend is the fact of God, which is external, not the core and essence of God. With my mind, I can't. Not only that, when I want to cleave to God, to be like him, which is to his divine attributes, which is godliness and not the core and essence of God, right? Even though godliness, the divine attributes of God are one with him, right? So his kindness is one with him. My kindness is not one with me, because I'm not always kind. I have to choose it. I have to be, right? But if it was at one with me, then I would just be kind. But it's a part of me, compounded of many different things. So therefore I could choose this part of me, that part of me. God doesn't choose to be kind and choose this and choose, no. He is it. Because it's one simplistic whole oneness with him. So that to me be connected to that kindness of God, even though it's a divine attribute, it's still one with God. I'm only connecting, as we said previously, to the external aspect of the fact of it, of that kindness of God, but not to the essence of it. That's all when we're talking about me trying to be kind like God. That's all talking about when I'm trying to apprehend and connect to the essence, to the Ein Sof, the limitlessness of God. All of that, I don't get to the core and essence. However, a mitzvah allows me to touch the essence of God. The core essence of God. The mitzvah allows me. How so? Stay tuned. We need the mitzvah. Without the mitzvah, right? That's a key point that the world needs to understand. We can't come to God because we want to come to God with me wanting to be like him, me wanting to apprehend him. There we can't get the essence. And the truth is, that's the human condition. Human condition, that's what the human wants. But God gives us something that's beyond the human condition. Him, on his terms. How? Through the mitzvah. How that works exactly? Stay tuned. More to come. Wishing everybody an amazing Shabbos. In preparation for Shabbos, we go what to live with, what to think about, what to share. And this amazing journey that we're on together. Folks, you need to help me to get this out to more people. A reminder that on my YouTube station, Tanya Rabbi, please subscribe. Just go to YouTube, type in Tanya Rabbi, and subscribe. And you can see all the videos, the 1 minute, these classes, they're there, and other things too. So do subscribe. All right, folks. And, of course, share the class. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zichron Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day, a good Erev Shabbos, and a wonderful, beautiful, great Shabbos.